Irish Fairy Tales. Chapter 71. Said Kyride. Mongan's wife at that time was Brotiarna, the Flame Lady. She was passionate and fierce, and because the blood would flood suddenly to her cheek, so that she who had seemed a lily became, while you looked upon her, a rose, she was called Flame Lady. She loved Mongan with ecstasy and abandon, and for that also he called her Flame Lady. But there may have been something of calculation even in her wildest moment, for if she was delighted in her affection she was tormented in it also, as are all those who love the great ones of life and strive to equal themselves where equality is not possible. For her husband was at once more than himself and less than himself. He was less than himself because he was now Mongan. He was more than himself because he was one who had long disappeared from the world of men. His lament had been sung and his funeral games played many, many years before, and Brotiarna sensed in him secrets, experiences, knowledges in which she could have no part and for which she was greedily envious. So she was continually asking him little, simple questions apropos of every kind of thing. She weighed all that he said on whatever subject, and when he talked in his sleep she listened to his dream. The knowledge that she gleaned from those listenings tormented her far more than it satisfied her, for the names of other women were continually on his lips, sometimes in terms of dear affection, sometimes in accents of anger or despair. And in his sleep he spoke familiarly of people whom the storytellers told of, but who had been dead for centuries. Therefore she was perplexed and became filled with a very rage of curiosity. Among the names which her husband mentioned there was one which, because of the frequency with which it appeared and because of the tone of anguish and love and longing in which it was uttered, she thought of oftener than the others. This name was Dovlaka. Although she questioned and cross-questioned Kyride, her storyteller, she could discover nothing about a lady who had been known as the Black Duck. But one night when Mongan seemed to speak with Dovlaka he mentioned her father as Fiachna Dovmacdomain, and the storyteller said that king had been dead for a vast number of years. She asked her husband then, boldly, to tell her the story of Dovlaka, and under the influence of their mutual love he promised to tell it to her some time, but each time she reminded him of his promise he became confused, and said that he would tell it some other time. As time went on the poor Flame Lady grew more and more jealous of Dovlaka, and more certain that if only she could know what had happened she would get some ease to her tormented heart and some assuagement of her perfectly natural curiosity. Therefore she lost no opportunity of reminding Mongan of his promise, and on each occasion he renewed the promise and put it back to another time.